2 losses in a row now to the Phillies after a big win Friday night. Lindor going out with the injury in the second inning after getting a hit. He wasn't really running that hard to first base on his hit either. And you don't really run hard on a single that many times in baseball. But at the same time, he didn't look great running the first base. So you're definitely a little bit worried about Francisco Lindor. We have to wait and see what the MRIs say. There's no really definitive answer that I can give you. I can't give you a timetable. No one really can give you a timetable until this MRI comes back. You just got to keep your fingers crossed and hope it's just a sore back, and Lindor can take maybe a day or two more off and come back healthy and be the MVP that he's been playing like, because he has been playing like an MVP this year. He's got a 271 batting average, 342 on base percentage, 494 slugging percentage. He's got 31 home runs on the year, 86 RBIs. I mean, he's been playing fantastic. He's been fantastic, and if the Mets lose him, we're screwed. Quite frankly, we're screwed. But this leads me into my next point. No matter how long Lindor is out, whether it's 2 days, 3 days, even if he comes back tomorrow, the Mets need 2 guys really badly right now. They need Pete Alonso and they need Brandon Nimmo. Because Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso, they deserve criticism. Quite frankly, you can say Pete Alonso has a lot of home runs. Brandon Nimmo, yeah, he has over 20 home runs this year, or might have over 20 home runs. I believe he only has 19 right now. But those two are supposed to play like all-stars, and they haven't. They haven't even played well all year. They've sucked. I don't care what anybody tells me. I don't care how many home runs each guy has hit. They both have sucked, especially with runners in scoring position. And if Alonso and Nimmo have also been hitting like I hate saying the back of the baseball card. I hate saying that analogy, but I'm going to use it right now. If Alonso and Nimmo played to the back of their baseball card, we would be much higher in the standings in the wild card. We'd potentially be fighting for the division right now with the Phillies. Because Lindor is playing great. The rotation, the starters are pitching great. The bullpen, I mean, outside of Edwin Diaz's little blunder today, has been pitching great too. It's Alonso and Nimmo. That's it. Those 2 guys get going, the Mets make the playoffs. That's the simple equation right there for the Mets. Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso play to the back of their baseball cards these last few games. Mets make the playoffs. That simple. It's that simple. We don't need. Yes, we need Lindor. But if Lindor can take a few days off, that'd be huge. But the reason we're like, oh my God, we need Lindor back ASAP is because these 2 guys who are supposed to be Lindor's co-stars aren't even playing like semi-good. They're not. They're not even semi-pro right now. They're playing terrible. They are playing terrible. And if Nimmo and Alonso got going, the Mets, they'd have a lead in the wild card, and they'd be fighting for the NL East with the Philadelphia Phillies. It's that simple. Because they're pitching, they've been great. The pitching has been fantastic. David Peterson, he had another great game. He went, 7.2 innings, only 1 earned run allowed with 4 hits allowed, 6 Ks, lowered his ERA to 2.86. He's 9-2 on the year. David Peterson is pitching great. Sean Manaea is pitching great. Luis Severino, besides Bryce Harper, he's been pitching great. It's Alonso and Nimmo. It's that simple. It is that simple. So, yes, the Mets cannot hit with the season on the ledge. That is a fact, Yuki. That is a fact. But, yeah, I want to talk about Diaz a little bit. We need just more consistency overall. It's the first earned run he allowed since that blunder when he let up a 3-run home run against Arizona on August 28th. So it's the first time all month that he let up an earned run. His ERA raises up to a 3.75 now. But yeah, we just need more consistency out of Edwin Diaz. He has been great at times this year, but he's also been bad. And we need more consistency. We need the guy from 2022 or the guy from the second half of 2021. We need that guy. We need that Edwin Diaz. Will we see it? We need it down the stretch. We do. We definitely do. So we need Edwin Diaz. We need Nimmo, and we need Alonso. Those are 3 guys that we need. And can the Mets still make the playoffs? I mean, I think I just answered that question. You get Diaz. Yes, they can make the playoffs, but they get Diaz, they get Nimmo, and they get Alonso to perform. The reason we made the playoffs in 2022 is because Diaz, Nimmo, Lindor, and Alonso all performed well. If that ain't going to happen, it's going to be tough to make the playoffs. And we're really going to need Lindor to play like an MVP. But if we want to take a little pressure off Lindor, which I think we should, it needs to be Alonso. It needs to be Nimmo. It needs to be Diaz. It needs to be those three guys. So it's going to be interesting. The Mets, they got just like the Giants, they got a tough schedule coming up. I mean, they got a little bit of a soft bump. Nationals 3-game series. We got to win those 3 games. We got to sweep them. And then we go to a 4-game set against the Phillies at home. And then the big one, the last 2 series, Braves, probably the most important series all year at Atlanta. We know what happened in 2022 at the end of the year. We cannot let that happen again. We cannot let Atlanta jump us in the standings again, this time in the wild card. 2 years ago was the NL East. This time it's in the wild card. We need to secure at least 2 out of 3 wins against the Nationals, 2 out of the 4 against the Phillies, 2 out of 3 against the Braves, and 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. So the Mets need to take a page out of what they did in 2022. Win series. If they can win each series, they make the playoffs. That simple. Win these next 4 series, and the Mets make the playoffs. That's it. Because that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more losses. That's it. What are we at right now? We're at 68 losses. $89 and 73. I think that gets us to the playoffs. That'll get us to the playoffs. So we got to win each series. That simple. All right. Let's hop on to the Yankees. We're going to fly through this. Yes. Let's get one more comment, though. Dodgers got Edmonds, Flaherty, go back. Trade on the Mets deadline moves underwhelming. Yes. Yes, the deadline moves were underwhelming for sure. David Stearns, he really tried to improve that bullpen. Some of it did help, some of it not so much. I mean, like you said, it was underwhelming. It was underwhelming. Outside of Jesse Winker, the Mets haven't really gotten a big boost out of any of their trade acquisitions from the deadline. But down the stretch, all they got to do is win series. I mean, they've had one of the best offenses in baseball all year long. You look at their offense, they're 6th in run scores with 4.8 a game. They're top 10 in hits, 8.4 hits a game. On base percentage, they're a top 10 team in that. They're 9th in entire MLB. So, 5th in home runs. So they got to hit. They have to hit. And like Yuki said before, with the season on the ledge, sometimes the Mets don't hit. We need that narrative to change down the stretch. We need it to change. So we'll see what happens. It's definitely going to be interesting. Let's get into these Yankees and let's wrap this show up because I want to watch these games I want to watch these games. Chiefs playing the Bengals right now. I do want to watch that. I want to watch the Rams Cardinals. Cardinals are beating up on the Rams 24-3. And the Steelers also in the red zone right now against the Broncos. But let's talk some Yankees and let's wrap this thing up. Aaron Judge again doing his thing. 5-2 win over the Red Sox. The Yankees now improved to 88 and 63. Rodon, an impressive start again. 5.1 innings, 6 hits allowed, only 2 earned runs allowed over those 5.1 innings. And you got to give credit to the bullpen too. Ian Hamilton, Clay Holmes also had a pretty good. I mean, he did let up a hit, and they did have to pull him, and they put in Jake Cousins. And Jake Cousins, again, a great performance. And Tommy Canley, again, another great performance out of him. So a little better bullpen management from Boone today gets the job done against the Boston Red Sox. And, of course, the top of the order for the Yankees is what gets them the win, too, as well. Gleyber Torres, 2 for 5 today with a home run. You got Juan Soto, who was 1 for 4 today. Aaron Judge, he was 1 for 2 today, got on base 3 times overall. Well, if you count the home run getting on base, he rounded the bases there. 2 walks, gets the home run, so 1 for 2 on the day. Even Jazz Chisholm, again, 1 for 4 on the day. He scored as well. Stanton, 1 for 2. He got on base twice today, so 2 RBIs as well. Jason Dominguez, he did go 0 for 3, 150 batting on the year, so got to see a little bit more from him. And Anthony Volpe, another young guy, you got to see more out of too. But this is it. This is the Yankees. These are the Yankees. They're top heavy. They are top heavy for sure. They do not have depth. So when you look at the Yankees, you look at the top of the order to provide. And that's it. That's really it. If you're a Yankee fan and you're dependent on Anthony Volpe and Jason Dominguez and Oswaldo Cabrera, you're stupid. You're dependent on Aaron Judge. You're dependent on Juan Soto. You're dependent on Giancarlo Stanton. You're dependent on Jazz Chisholm. And you're dependent on Garrett Cole. And hopefully the bullpen. You're keeping your fingers crossed with the bullpen. And that's it. Because Carlos Rodon, I mean, 15-9 on the year, but he's also got a 4.12 ERA this year. So that ain't good. That ain't good. That's not a guy who you're going to trust taking the mound in the postseason. 15-9 is great, but like I said, that ERA is scary. So it's really Louis Hill and Garrett Cole that you're looking at in the postseason. And Garrett Cole, we definitely need to see him get going as well. Because you take a look at his game log, letting up 7 earned runs against Boston just a day ago. That wasn't great. I mean, really only 3 bad starts from him all year long. 4, actually, I should say. Forgot that Mets one. But 3 bad starts last night against Boston, against the Mets in the Subway Series. He let up 6 against the Mets as well. So the Mets have had his number this year, and so has Boston. And that's about it. He's had 4 bad starts, and 4 of those bad starts have only been against 2 teams. So Boston and the Mets somehow have Cole's number. I wouldn't be too worried about Cole. And also just the energy is just amplified in those series. So Subway Series, Boston, New York, it's always going to be amplified. Can't be shocked. But yeah, going down the stretch, Yankees, you got to like where they're at. They got the division lead. I mean, everybody knew that the Baltimore Orioles were going to be one of the best teams in baseball. And they have been all year. They've been neck and neck with the Yankees. Baltimore, right now, 84-66. So the Yankees do have a pretty good lead on the Yankees with a little bit left to go. They got the Mariners, A's, Orioles, and Pirates. So just like the Mets, you win each series, you win the division. And the Yankees got to win the division because, I mean, let's see where they rack up. Right now, they would be the number 1 seed in the entire American League. You got Cleveland, 86-64. Houston, 80-68. So the Yankees are fighting for that number 1 spot, not only in the AL East, but the number 1 spot in the entire American League. And if they can get that number 1 seed, we all know how good that will do. Because let's be real. They can beat Minnesota. They can beat Kansas City. And they can beat Baltimore. They can beat Baltimore. Baltimore sometimes has their number. Sometimes New York does well. It's been literally head-to-head. New York, Baltimore, they're right there against each other. So it's definitely going to be interesting over these next few weeks down the stretch. We'll see what happens. We're in a great time. If you're a New York sports fan, you got to be happy. The Jets are playing well. Daniel Jones bounces back. The Yankees with another win. Mets, I mean, nobody expected the Mets to be where they're at right now. So you got to be happy. You got to be pleased if you're a Mets fan. You definitely want more, but you got to be happy. So keep your head up if you're a Mets fan. Hopefully they can get a little bit of a bump against the Washington Nationals against this in this next 3-game series. Yankees, I mean, playing Seattle. They've been terrible all year long. Seattle 76-73. They're nothing that the Yankees are. So they got to beat up on them. But yeah, Giants, these next 6 weeks, they kind of suck for them. And then the Jets, we got 3 soft opponents. So it's going to be a big next few weeks. We'll see you guys. I'm going to probably go live next Friday. And then Sunday is probably going to be the new day because Jets and Giants back in business. Let's go watch Sunday Night Football. Let's go watch Chiefs, Bengals. Let's get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. We got over 200 right now. I'm not sure if it's on X or on YouTube, but wherever you're watching, thank you guys. And if you're watching on X, go to the Twitter bio, hit the link, go to YouTube and click subscribe. We're trying to get to 350 right now. Deuces.